Blog Talk Radio.
All right, gang, it's time for another episode of Working the Web to Win. Today we're going to share with you 15 ways social media can build your business and your credibility.
So, I noticed that the connection is we're so good because we're live.
Yep, we're live. So this week it's going to be I can kind of take a nap and let you run the show, right? Because you're the social butterfly.
I don't know about the social butterfly. I'm more like the spider web guy. So, for our listeners out there on the Hangouts, you can call in by dialing 213-943-3808. It's 213-943-3808. We'll get you on the air. You can also find us on workingthewebtowin.com, Blogger, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram. And we want to thank our sponsor all year, Vibrant Life Health Center. Of course, they have, the full-service chiropractic office where they can cure for all kinds of pains, sports pains, injuries, those kinds of things. They also provide nutritional support. So, we want to get nutritional consultation.
Yeah.
We're really good at that, too. But I think the big claim to fame right now is that the Nutrimost system, which is a guaranteed weight loss system, is really helping a lot of people. I mean, the testimonials keep building up, like tons of them. So they have some specials going on right now. If you go to our blog right now, click on their link over on the left-hand side. You'll get to see some of the specials. Also, if you go to their blog, Vibrant Life Health Center, you'll be able to see some other specials down at the bottom of the thing.
And obviously, video testimonials are another way to build your business's credibility. We've talked about that a lot.
Yeah. And most people don't realize that video, for the most part, is a social mechanism.
Right. Well, in fact, that's what we talk about. YouTube really is a social network.
Right.
People don't realize it is, but it is. It's also a search engine.
It's got all the things that's built into, any other, Facebook or whatever. As a matter of fact, it's such a big search engine that now Facebook is trying to copy it. And they're coming up with their own thing. So, we have a countdown of the top 15 things that why social media is the best way to build your business today. And so we'll start with number 15 here. What was it? 2 or 3 months ago we were talking about Mobilegeddon.
Right.
Mobilegeddon.
Longer than that, but it was. We could definitely talk to it.
And again, it's something that people are talking about all the time because there's, I'd say 70% of the websites are still not mobile friendly.
Right.
But guess what? Social media is mobile friendly. So if you're on Facebook, it's mobile friendly. If you're on Google+, it's mobile friendly. If you're on Twitter, it's mobile friendly. LinkedIn is mobile friendly.
Right.
Pretty much all the main social platforms are mobile friendly without you having to do anything. Okay, and that includes YouTube. YouTube is mobile friendly. So.
And of course, if you're trying to impress Google, obviously Google Plus is double mobile friendly.
Right. So again, bloggers mobile friendly.
Yeah.
All these platforms, if you're using them, they're mobile friendly and people can find them. And people use their phones more than their computers today in many cases.
Sure.
If you're not at the office, people use their mobile phones everywhere, and those smartphones are essentially walking, talking computers, and they're using them to actually do comparison shopping and a whole bunch of other things. But again, if you're not in the social arena, you're probably missing out on some of the mobile traffic that you could be getting.
Not to mention you're missing out on traffic.
Right.
Because particularly if your business isn't proactive enough online to generate a page one result on, big search engines.
Mm-hmm.
What's nice about social networking is it doesn't rely on the search engines to produce traffic.
Yeah, well, again, it's one of those types of things that you don't have to be in search.
Mm-hmm.
Most people think Google has a total monopoly.
Right?
They have a heck of a monopoly on
the search engine, right?
But that's no longer the only venue that's out there.
That's right.
Here's another thing that most people don't realize. Social media produces a lot of authoritative backlinks for you. And authoritative backlinks are some of the top 10 items that produce ranking.
Right.
So you want to get good ranking. Being in social is one of the ways of producing that. And you can do it a lot of different ways. So it's not just the backlinks from the social sites to your main site.
Mm-hmm.
So your Facebook link to your main page and so on. It's also the posts that you do.
Mm-hmm.
So Twitter posts are purchased by Google and put into search. Your blogger posts are put into search. LinkedIn posts are put in search. Instagram posts,
Right.
Just
So
going on.
let me ask you a question for those who aren't web savvy like you are. What is a backlink?
Well, a backlink is where, you have a link from one URL
Mm-hmm.
to another.
Right.
And that those two URLs together are backlinked to each other. And essentially, if you're willing to be connected to somebody else, that usually means that you're like them.
Right.
So I'm trying to get it back on here. There we go. But yeah, again, that backlink essentially is an authoritative link that Google looks at as, hey, these two people like each other, so they must be legitimate, if you want to think of it that way. And that's the way I look at it. I know that in the early days, businesses would sort of be partnering up, helping each other send each other business, because the resource page was a big deal in the early on period of time. So we're on number
13, which is social networks can improve your organic search ranking. Because that's the other thing, is not only does it provide traffic on its own, but it also gives you Google juice. It helps you build search engine ranking, because when the search engines come around, if they see that you're active and people are engaging you on the search, on the networks, on social nets, then that actually gives you a bump in your SEO.
And not only that, when people do testimonials and those kinds of things, or negative posts even, those things get into search, and the positive posts can give you ranking, because Google pays very close attention to positive posts, and negative posts can give you negative ranking.
That's right.
So you need to really pay attention to both ends of that spectrum. And again, that's organic ranking, not buying pay-per-click or anything like that. And again, there's nothing wrong with those other kinds of things. But organic, there's nothing better than organic ranking from that perspective.
Well, I would say, why pay per item when you can have all you can eat?
Yeah.
That's the difference between organic and pay-per-click.
And, the next one, number 12, I've always told people that, one of the things you can really do with social is what I used to call social push. So you can produce traffic, lots of traffic, to your website. So if you do a tweet and you say, check out this really cool article, and oh, by the way, this is my website. And people would go and read the tweet, and if they liked it, they might go check out your site. And that, in and of itself, if you're punching it out to thousands and thousands of people, 1 in 10 is going to visit your website for sure, and that builds a lot of traffic. And not only can you do it on Twitter, but you can do it on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and on and on. So traffic is one of the nice side effects of social media. Most people don't think of it that way, but it's a great way to produce traffic.
From traffic, you can generate sales.
That's right. And here's number 11 is you can sell directly. So most people don't do this, but actually you can set up an e-commerce site on Facebook. You can actually put links on all your social sites that go directly to your e-commerce, engines. So if you have an e-commerce site that lets people buy online, there's no reason why you can't put links directly to those things. If you don't have that, you can actually use PayPal or some other product. For example, PayPal has a product that you can actually put embedded links to sell directly on your sites, and that includes social sites. You can do the same kinds of things with a product from like QuickBooks, or several of the other credit card companies actually have their own little products that you can get, and then you can put in embed codes and sell directly on. Those things work best when you're small and you only have 10 or 15 items. But as you get bigger, then you use a product like ShopSite or so on, and all of the bigger guys, except for the one from GoDaddy, of course, that will let you put embed codes directly on social.
Yeah, you just have to make sure that you're just not using your social site just to sell, because as you pointed out many times, people don't like to be sold to. The way you sell online is you don't sell, you tell. And then you kind of wrap your copy in your little sales.
Ideally, or if you were selling on your social site, what you would do is you would have a testimonial of somebody saying how great this product was, and then you could put a link under that testimonial that goes to the landing page or to the sales site directly on there. Number 10, social posts can show up on organic search quickly. We used to talk about this all the time, especially like blogging and so on. But it's not just Blogger. I mean, I've seen tweets show up on page 1 in one day, and especially Google Plus posts.
I
mean, they show up like that.
Well, and of course, videos too, because YouTube is owned by Google. So that's a great way to get on page 1. I always tell people, if you're ever given a choice between having your website show up on page 1 and your video show up on page 1, take the video. Because there's only going to be one, and people are 5 times as likely to watch the video.
And even if there were 2 or 3, I mean, they're still going to be more likely to watch the videos. And a video usually is more convincing. I mean, if you read a testimonial from somebody, and you look at the video,
Right.
if it's a real testimonial, the video testimony is going to be much more convincing than any kind of other kind of testimonial that you would have in there. So, I don't know. I think that if people just understand the importance of how quickly you can jump on the page one, and that's not just Google.
Right.
You can also jump on the page one in Bing and in Yahoo and so on, and these other search engines that are out there. Number 9, social networks have become the go-to platform for new product launches.
I think a lot of big companies, they've been doing that for the past several years.
Yeah. That's nothing new for big companies,
Right.
but small companies.
So you say you don't have to be a big company to take advantage of it.
Well, for example, we talked about, people doing Kickstarter and stuff like that. Well, the reality is, if you want to be successful in Kickstarter, you have to really be good at social.
That's right.
Because if you want a bunch of people to come in and give you money for your whatever your Kickstarter project is, you better be able to generate all kinds of social buzz and traffic on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on. So launching products that's the best way to go. And again, in the last several years, Ford, General Motors, I know Kia, when they did the little squirrely things, those hamsters, when they did their launch on the new Soul, and the hybrid Soul and so on, they launched all that stuff on social media. Some of them also have simultaneously launched them on social media and launched them simultaneously on YouTube.
Right.
And they would actually work them together. A lot of times now, concerts, when they're launching a new album or something like that, and they're in a live concert, they'll do a live feed to social networks and so on. That's a pretty common thing.
You see that now in sports events too.
Yeah.
Halftime when you see the players on the sideline, you see them doing this.
Right. Yeah, they got the pad on their hand and they're doing stuff. So it looks like we got maybe a caller.
Oh, well, pick it up.
Let me see what we got calling in here. Caller, can you hear us? You have to speak louder.
Do we have your speaker up?
Oh, they just hung up. Shouldn't have scared them away.
I guess so. That'll teach you to answer the phone.
So we were on number 9, new product launches.
There's a number up there.
Yeah, this is ours.
Yeah, but let's see the number up top. It says caller 904-393 was dropped.
Most dropped, yeah. So we don't want to say their phone number on the there.
No, I'm just saying, I didn't say the whole thing. There it is.
Yeah.
I've never noticed that before.
We were talking about launching. There's another type of launching that happens on a regular basis, and that's we're in the sort of political season right now.
Yep.
Think about it. You hear politicians talking about all kinds of different kinds of things, and we've seen on the news lately how often Donald Trump is listening to other guys, and then he starts tweeting. Well, in the political season, announcements are made regularly from social media.
Absolutely.
For example, when Barack Obama ran the first time, he announced his running mate on Twitter. So on social media, if you have a big following, that's a quick way to get the message to a whole lot of people very quickly. And that's one of the ways that you see social media being used very effectively. Today, if you're not good at social media, you're not going to win elections.
That's right.
I mean, you have to be really good at what you're doing, get your message out, and you have to be able to motivate the troops to get them to go out and put the message out. So that's one thing that people need to pay attention to. I mean, I see a lot of politicians running here locally, like in Orange Park and in Jacksonville, and they're not really paying attention to what they're doing because they're not doing social media. And I'm like, when are you going to start doing it? Oh, we don't know. One guy said, when you give me money. Okay.
Well, hey, at least he's being honest, right?
Yeah, well, obviously, he didn't have any money to do his social media thing. Social media, number 7, is a subtle form of touch marketing. Now, this is sort of an important thing because, again, a lot of people get in there and start hammering, the viewers with coupons and here's my special and we did this week and we did that last week and so on. And they can get out of control pretty quickly with that kind of stuff. So what do you recommend that they do? What kind of posts do you think they should be doing?
I'll put it. I mean, the bottom line is it's not so much a matter of the kind of post. It's a matter of how, what kind of delivery you can put out on that post. I mean, what kind of a network do you really have?
Well, if they have even 300 or 400 people and they're posting in a way that allows them to feel, what's the word, justified, to feel cared about.
Right.
Because people don't care about you until they think you care about them.
Right.
And one of the biggest problems with social posts is the people who are doing the social posts, they're posting all about themselves, their company, their products. And social is not about them.
Right.
It's about the followers.
Sure.
It's what they want. Now, obviously, if they're following Lady Gaga, they want to know what Lady Gaga's wearing and all that kind of stuff. But by the same token, if they're following your site, they have very specific likes and wants. And if you're not Lady Gaga, you got to give them something else. So I generally try and post, since I'm a social media guy, I'm posting about lots of things that's happening in social media. Now, I post about our stuff regularly too, but I'm also writing unique articles about social media. And that's one of the things that our clients look for, is they want to know about social media. So we're giving them the social media stuff in spades, but not just ours, but all the big players.
Right.
We talk about HubSpot, and we talk about social media marketing, and Marketing Pros, and all those other guys' stuff out there too.
Of course, it also helps when somebody says something nice about you, and then you can repost that.
Right. Yeah, well, I noticed that a lot of other e-zines post our stuff regularly. Matter of fact, when I was searching for this article, I found it published in 2 other magazines. So, and I didn't even know it was there. So that's pretty cool. Here's number 6. Social media provides real client engagement. No other media does this so well. So what do we mean by real client engagement? Here's an example. I know a guy who was really fed up with his phone, his smartphone.
Right.
So he gets on there and he says, Verizon really sucks. And this is a true story. So within an hour, he gets a reply from somebody in Verizon saying, what's the problem? We really want to help you. Because Verizon is monitoring what people are chattering about, what's the buzz that's on the social networks. And there are products out there that let you monitor Twitter, Facebook, and you just monitor what's going on. And when you see these tweets or posts about you, you can respond to them. Well, he ended up getting a new phone and getting his problem resolved, but if he hadn't, laid down the law, and complained, he would have just had to go to, T-Mobile or somebody.
Sure.
And that's what he was saying. He was, I'm going to go to T-Mobile or whatever. And sure enough, they started bending over backwards to make them happy. And one of the things that social media does, it allows you to make that disgruntled client happy if you're willing to try and make them happy. Now, not everybody's willing to do that, but one of the nice things about social media is it's equalized the playing field to some extent. Because in the past, companies were just ruthless. I mean, it was customer no service was the normal, normal thing. You could call, you could raise hell, you could do all kinds of stuff, and nothing. Now, if you start a complaint campaign, very shortly you're gonna make a dent in whatever it is that you're trying to get done. If you have a legitimate complaint, you're gonna make it. And I've always felt that it's much cheaper to make the customer happy than to try and fight them on whatever thing that you got to butt heads on. It's crazy.
Because usually it's an argument you're not going to win anyway.
Right, and it's usually a small price to pay to keep a happy customer. Why would somebody not want to do that?
Especially today, because as you know, they take it to the next level. We've seen people build clone sites, spoof sites, negative review site, everything they could just to get up and say, hey, don't do business with these morons.
And it can really get out of hand. We talked about, not very long ago, about the lady who was going to come out with the antisocial site. And before she could even launch it, the uproar was so big that she thought they were going to grab her and hang her or something. So she sort of fell off the map for a while. Anyway, that's one of the big things about social media. It makes a big difference. But as a business, if you're monitoring it, it allows you to head off firestorms before they happen. Plus, you can actually provide really, really good customer service, and that's a great way to build more testimonials and loyal customers. Number 5, using social media provides a way to encourage positive ratings.
Other than post them, you can actually ask for them.
You can ask for them. You can, when people do them, you can recycle them. So they say something really wonderful about you on Facebook, and they give you a real high rating. You do a screenshot of it. You show it on Twitter. You show it on LinkedIn, and so on. So you can recycle the posts and so on, and vice versa. So if they did it on Twitter, you can pass it around on Facebook and so on. It's a great way to get that. And not only that, it's not just social media. If they post you on rating sites, Yelp or something, snapshot of that one.
Double your pleasure, double your fun.
I mean, if you try and do, I know Angie's List doesn't want you to do that.
Right.
But it's possible to do that in a way also, and just don't say it's from Angie's.
Right.
So.
Well, hey, in my opinion, if they're saying something good about your business, it's all about you, not about Angie's List.
And they literally have rules that say that you
Wow.
can't take anything off of our site because we own it. That kind of stuff. But here's the thing. You can capture what they said without the Angie's List
Right.
and reuse it. I mean, you can also contact the client and ask them to, hey, would you like to do a video testimonial on blah, blah, blah.
Or Google review or
Right.
something.
Google, have them go to Google review, have them go to Yelp. There's lots of different ways you can use it because you can now engage the customer directly.
Right.
And that's something that social media does that you can't do with TV, radio, newspaper, or just about any other kind of thing.
In fact, most of the TV, newspaper, magazines are putting out, follow us on Facebook, go to our site,
Right.
go to our landing page.
Heck,
They're
when
going
you
the
watch
other
the news today,
Yeah,
half
that's
of it is talking about what happened on Twitter.
Yeah.
The debate the other day was who had the highest Twitter rating.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute. Is it about the debate? It's
Right.
about Twitter.
It's kind of hard to tell anymore.
Yeah, so it's sort of the crazy kind
What,
of thing.
what I like is when you see these young people and they're walking down the street like this. You're going to get hit by a bus. They do that. They were even saying, I was reading a news feed today, and they're saying that the young people today are spending more than 9 hours a day
Yeah.
feeding their various.
Usually their phone.
Yeah.
They're feeding their phone something, which is crazy. That's why in Boy Scouts for years, you had to leave it in the car.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to have it. They're not even allowed to have it in the Boy Scout meetings because, again, if
Right.
they did, they'd be so plugged in, they'd
Right.
never learn anything.
Right.
They wouldn't be tying knots. What's that? That kind of stuff.
Good thing cavemen didn't have
Yeah.
those things. Huh?
That's
They
right.
would have gotten out of the cave.
So, number 4, social networks provide psychographic, demographic information for targeting clients. So, you can get such great information
Mhm.
that you can actually find specific audiences to follow
Right.
and ask them to follow you back. And more importantly, you can also do social media pay-per-click, pay-per-view
Uh-huh.
that's highly targeted.
Huh.
And generally for a lot less money than you would do with Google search or Yahoo search or any of those other kinds of things. Number 3, you have a highly targeted audience. I mean, if you're doing your post properly and so on, you're building a very highly targeted audience. We want our audience to be people who want to do
Right.
social media.
Mhm.
They want to do video. And so, I mean, we're a marketing company, so
Right.
that's who we cater to. But by the same token, if you're like Vibrant Life Health,
Right.
you want people who have back pains, body pains,
Absolutely.
overweight, those kinds of things. You want them to pay attention, so you give them what they're looking for.
Right.
Help with those very specific subjects. We're getting close to the last 2. So number 2, social networks provide a huge fishing pond for prospecting.
Mhm.
So how many people are in Facebook? Like 1.4 billion people. And how many people are in Google Plus? 500 million. And actually, if you count all the Gmail accounts, it's like 1.5 billion.
Right.
Something like that. Twitter, 300,000.
But that doesn't
Instagram,
include all the
400,000.
cat sites.
Right. It doesn't include. Yeah, I'm sure that there are actually lots of fake sites out there. But Twitter tries to give you reasonable numbers that are real.
Right.
We know that Facebook has said that 300,000 or 400,000 people are active users out of 1.5 billion. So, but still, those are huge ponds. I
Right.
don't care which any way you look at it. Even if it was a local pond and you had 50,000 people to fish in,
Sure.
that's a nice big sized pond. So the last one, and again, this will sort of lead into next week's show.
Actually, it's the first one. So
That's right, number 1. So number 1, word of mouth marketing is number 1. Well, not only is word of mouth marketing number 1, social media is electronic word of mouth.
Right.
I mean, literally, social media grew out of the face-to-face networking arena where people said, if we could really do this online, it'd be
Right.
really cool because you could share all your stuff. And lo and behold, LinkedIn and Facebook and all these things.
Well, look at traditional marketing. I mean, how many people can you actually talk to in any given day? There's a limited number.
Right. If you go to a networking event,
Right.
you might, and it's an hour and a half, you might be able to talk to
4 or 5 people.
4 or 5, maybe 10 people if you're really efficient.
Yeah.
But generally, it's going to be 4 or 5 people that you can have a meaningful conversation, unless you happen to be the speaker that day,
Right.
the speaker of the whole group or something like that. So I know next week's show we're going to go into social networking, which is a combination of face-to-face networking and social media marketing.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about how they work together and how they're two sides of the same coin. But I know we're at about 3 or 4 minutes out of the show, and we want to get into some of the worldwide weirds.
Yeah, well, this week I decided we would touch on TLC. And you'll know last month, the whole month, I was doing Halloween night. We were doing all the spooky, scary stuff. Well, this is kind of like the last gasp of that, but I thought it was interesting because this actually was something, this was a news feed out of Boston. And it says, a judge granted a protective order against a warlock on Wednesday, spelling relief for the Salem witch who accused him of harassment. So even the witches and warlocks can't get along, apparently. She turned me into a nude. I know better. You know, I mean, it's one of those things going on. And I mean, but this actually was done in a court of law. It sounded like an episode of Boston Law to me, Boston Legal to me. You know what I mean? I could just see.
That could be a TV episode.
Yeah,
it could be easily a TV episode.
And it's in Boston, so is this Boston Legal or what? This was actually on Yahoo News. I just thought that was interesting. And then my next one, and this is one that's right up your alley, Hector, because apparently NASA needs you. Because it says NASA needs a programmer fluent in 60-year-old languages, computer languages.
Because of the
Voyager. Yeah, everybody that worked on the, Voyager's been out there since the 70s. And
I mean, V'ger.
Yeah, V'ger. And I mean, they're looking for people who can like program in Fortran and COBOL. You know what I mean? The programming languages that were involved
ancient languages.
Yes, way back when. And I guess all the staff that were doing that are long since retired. And of course, Voyager.
I still have my basic and Fortran and Pascal books.
But the funny thing is, I mean, Voyager's still out there, and it's still communicating. ET phone home. And the problem is that they no longer have anybody that can really change the program, augment the programming. And they say, as it gets further and further away, and I guess it's even though it's got a nuclear power source, over time it's going to start running down. So they have to have a certain amount of management that's handled. Of course, wear and tear, even out in space.
Hey, when it comes back, it'll be V'ger.
Yeah, you gotta wait for that to happen. But I just like that one.
It'll be the year 2026.
And then the last TLC one before we call it quits, and this was kind of interesting. Injured deer wanders into hospital emergency room. Apparently,
Bunker.
Yeah, no, it said emergency room employees at Strong Memorial Hospital in Rochester, New York, were shocked when an injured deer walked through the doors on Monday afternoon. And apparently, they got clipped by a car in the parking lot, and it said, "Okay, well, there's the ER. Help! Hey, can somebody help me?" We walk right into the emergency room. People are sitting there, and they're looking at watching this deer walking down the hallway.
Can we set a deer's leg?
Well, the problem is it didn't have the proper insurance, so they kicked it to the curb.
It said I talked to Obama.
This is Obama deer right here.
This is an Obama deer. I know next week's show is going to be called Social Networking Secrets and Best Practices Part 1, so 3 parts. So it's not going to be all back to back.
Right.
But that show is going to be about, how the similarities between face-to-face or what's called word-of-mouth marketing,
right,
or referral marketing, and social media are very similar, and how they work hand in hand, and how to make them work hand in hand so you can maximize, whatever you want to get out of it.
And then the following week we're going to talk about, has the internet made us smarter?
Yeah.
I mean, 20 years ago, the internet really took off like a shot, and now it's anybody can just reach out, put your finger on any part of the planet, any topic.
Hey, you can grab your phone and just talk to it and say, hey, what are the words of that song?
But I mean, is that helping us?
I don't know if it's making us any harder.
Hurting us, you know what I mean? We're going to talk about some of those things.
I don't know whether it's making us smarter, but, if you have your computer strapped to your waist, you'll be able to get answers very quickly. I want to thank Vibrant Life Health Center and recommend our clients to check out the Vibrant Life Health Center website. Also go to their blog. Lots of really good articles every week. Right now, we're sort of moving into the flu and cold season. So they got articles on those kinds of things out there. And also, if you're 40 or 50 pounds overweight, they're the people that you really want to check out, because I know that they're going to make a big difference for you. So having said all that, I know that we want to make sure that you check us out next week. So keep working the web, guys.